Hello everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Polity Quick Revision series. So in this video, we'll talk about a very important chapter, that is fundamental duties. Here we'll take a look at the list of fundamental duties, the significance, some interesting questions, and many more such things. So without any further delay, let's get started. The following are fundamental duties. We just read through them. So try to see if you can answer this. You can open your book also. It can be an open book.
Option B, sir. 2, 3,
Option
4.
B.
B 2, 3, 4. So meaning you're saying this is wrong and 5 is wrong. Okay, let me see. To believe in socialism, secularism, democracy. So these kind of things are coming in your preamble. Okay, national flag, yes. Sovereignty, unity, integrity. Okay, rich. Okay, composite culture. Perfect. Okay, so great. Let's look at another one. Which of the following statements regarding the fundamental duties are contained in the Indian Constitution, or which are there in the Indian Constitution, are correct? Fundamental duties can be enforced through writ jurisdiction. Fundamental duties have formed as part of the Constitution since its adoption, which is 1950. And then Sovereign Singh Committee se aaya. Okay, and then fundamental duties are applicable only to citizens of India.
3 and 4.
Okay, so 2 and 3 cannot both be part of the answer. This says since independence, and this one says since 1976. So if this is incorrect, then this is your right one. And fundamentals are applicable to citizens only. So we saw that as well. So you remember, right? So I've only given you those 10 articles or 10 sub articles, right? And 5 sentences. So everything you are able to answer from these itself, right? So there are certain lines and certain paragraphs in your book that are more important than other paragraphs or other lines in your book. So those ones you want to keep revisiting. If possible, try to use a highlighter or try to utilize some sort of just mark certain things so that you can keep revisiting and for multiple revisions. What are enforced through writ jurisdiction? If it is not fundamental. Exactly. So writ jurisdiction, in fact, I should put it like this. Okay, this is for your fundamental rights. So you have very good clarity. Which of the following have been prescribed by the Indian Constitution as fundamental duties?
Option B.
Bombay,
D.
Delhi.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So income tax we just saw, right? So that is not part of it. But to defend the country when when called upon to do so, composite culture, safeguard public property. Very, very clear, right? So if you remember these 10 different lines, you will be able to answer many of your questions. In fact, if you read those alone, in fact, like for 20 minutes every single day, even after the next couple of weeks, you will, most of the options you will see in your polity paper will look like you're reading it directly from your Laxmikanth. Okay, and you will have that sense of familiarity. Hey, this sounds familiar. Maybe I've read this already. Hey, this does not sound familiar at all for some reason. That means you can be confident that you have not read it. It is not there in your book. Okay, so that's what I mean. In polity, that is why it becomes much easier to be scoring between, just like 13 to 18 year, right? Let's see who's the quickest. So the exact text of this mentions, to renounce practices that are derogatory to the dignity of women. Okay, it's not about the human being or the children or this one. That does not mean that these are not the duties that we should follow. But however, the text of the fundamental duties in Article 51A, these specifically mention point number D. Okay, the fundamental duties are intended to serve as a reminder to the state to perform duties conferred by the Constitution, the judiciary to administer justice properly, to every citizen to observe certain basic norms of democratic conduct, or the legislature to make laws for the welfare of the people. Even if, in fact, I want to add one more.
Option A, I'm not sure.
Okay, option A is 1. Anybody else?
Option A, sir.
Option A, one more. Okay. See, fundamental duties are meant citizens of India. This is not the fundamental duty of the state. There are some things that are for the state, and that is, like for instance, DPSP, directive principles of the state to perform certain things. That could be this one. It is not the duty of a judiciary. It is not about the legislature. It is about the citizen. Okay, fundamental duties. Now, you know why you went wrong here, and it's very interesting that you went wrong here. The reason is because this is not directly from the text. Okay, but this is from the principle. The principle that you and I have fundamental duties. So what you have to remember, that it is applicable to citizens of India. Fundamental duties are not to the state. Okay, it does not tell the government. It tells you and me to sort of cherish the noble ideals of our, our constitutional makers. It tells you and me that we should denounce the practices that are derogatory to women. It tells you and me that we should be there, present to sort of, provide some sort of, render service for the, guarding the nation or something like that. So this is to us. Okay, so remember both aspects. Okay, so you have the textual parts, then there is a little bit of the application part, or the sort of how do you understand it? Okay, so I think you now tell me one thing. Fundamental duties are part of which article, guys?
51A.
51A. Who is that?
Aishwarya.
Aishwarya. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so this is your 51A. So consider the 51A article, right? See, whenever you have 51 and followed by an A, it means that it has been introduced later. So this is by an amendment. Can you guys just remind me what amendment was this?
42nd.
42nd Amendment.
Okay, wonderful. And can you also tell me which year it was?
1976.
1976.
1976. Okay, excellent. You guys have a very good memory. Okay, so that is great. Which committee was the one that suggested the incorporation of these fundamental duties?
Swaran Singh Committee.
One Singh committee, sir.
Okay, great. Who was the Prime Minister during this period? It was Indira Gandhi. Okay. And it was during the time of emergencies. So just one more thing added to your kitty. Okay. To protect the sovereignty, unity, integrity of India, to safeguard private property, to protect and improve the natural environment, including your forests, lakes, rivers, and wildlife. Which one would be the answer?
Option D.
Option D. And this was by whom?
Manvi, sir.
Manvi. Okay. Why did you say D?
So because the Constitution never speaks about private property, it's always in the interest of public.
Okay, that's very well put. Okay, so it is not private. So just one little word here is sort of throwing you off. It could possibly. So in fact, when I looked at property, basically in my mind, it came as, you cannot be a vandal. Okay, no vandalism and all of that. Okay, so that means, yes, there's a fundamental duty. But had I not looked at this one particular word, I would probably not have the, the presence of mind to sort of cancel this one out. Okay, or eliminate this. So that means I'm going to have these two. Okay, so that is going to be my 1 and 3. Okay, so remember, just even one little word. Okay, so that is how well you have to have this in your mind. Okay, so great, Manvi. Okay, two more, I guess. Okay, so consider the following statements. Fundamental duties, they've always been part of Constitution of India. They've been added through an amendment, are mandatory on all citizens of India.
Option C.
So why is it option C? Why
So
not?
it was,
Go ahead, go ahead.
So fundamental duties are not mandatory for all the citizens to follow, and it was been added by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. So therefore, it wasn't present in the Constitution way long back.
Why is it not mandatory on all citizens of India?
So these are the basic duties that are to be followed, which are not justiciable.
Okay, okay. So I guess you're going with whether it is justiciable. Okay, right? Now it is our duty to follow it, okay, but it has not been made compulsory where, you know, I can penalize you for not doing so. But in case I want to, you know, ensure that there is penalties assigned for not following any of these things, then me, the government, okay, we are allowed to do so. Okay, so that is good. Okay, great. Last question. Which are the ones? To develop scientific temper, to promote common brotherhood, village panchayats, to minimize inequalities in income, to secure a uniform civil code, to defend the country.
Option C.
That means, and I'm guessing that is Aishwarya, right? So it is, so C means 1, 2, and 6. So that means you're going with 3 is not part of it. You're saying 4 is not part of it. And then you're even saying 5 is not part of it. Is that right? Do you guys agree with this? Any other answer? Looks like it is not. See, the reason why this question is a good question is that you would know that, you know, village panchayat is an idea that we want to sort of have. Okay, inequalities in income ko kam karna hai hame. Okay, and then uniform civil code, right? Uniform civil code. But however, these 3 are part of your constitution, but not necessarily in your fundamental duties. Where exactly do these belong?
DPSPs.
DPSPs.
DPSPs. Okay, so great. Now, can you tell me which article is your village panchayat? I mean, it's okay. We're going to go to this chapter again, but just I want to see like whether you guys know it.
40.
42.
It's actually 40. Okay, close enough. What about inequalities in income?
39.
Inequalities in income, 38. Okay. To secure a uniform civil code, and that will be
44.
44. Okay, so you guys are quite aware of this. So I guess the DPSP chapter is going to move along much quicker. Okay, so I'm guessing by now, you know, fundamental rights, I mean, you know, the preamble, the salient feature of the constitution, many of these topics are sort of like, you know, strong for you. Okay. All right, guys, so that brings us to the close of our video. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you found the video to be useful. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the very next video.